So let's explore a huge philosophical question today, one that really gets to the core of what it means to be human. Are we here to struggle and climb towards something greater, or is the whole point to just find comfort in peace? We're going to dive into this really fascinating dialogue that gives two completely different answers.
Okay, let's just drop right into the middle of this scene. It's a bustling market, and we meet our first character, the Shadow. And this guy is just filled with this fiery urgency. He's looking at the crowds all around him, and he doesn't just see people. He sees a world of sleepers, a whole population just waiting for an alarm clock he's afraid will never go off on its own.
So this marketplace, it isn't just a backdrop. It's the stage for this massive debate. And this isn't just a small disagreement, you know? It's a total clash between two fundamentally opposed ideas about what humanity even is and what we should be trying to become.
All right, let's start with the Shadow side of things. He has this incredibly passionate, almost desperate belief in humanity's hidden greatness, and he feels this urgent, pressing need to wake everybody up.
The Shadow uses this really powerful metaphor to make his point. He sees the masses as passive, formless clay, just sitting there, waiting for a transformative spark, a bolt of lightning, to finally give them some purpose and shape. It's this image of a dramatic, sudden creation.
And this leads us to his central idea. For the Shadow, being human isn't some final destination we've already reached. No, it's a difficult, dangerous journey. He describes humanity as a rope stretched between our animal past, the beast, and this potential, almost godlike future. The whole point for him is the tension, the struggle, and the real risk of falling.
Okay, so now let's turn to the Soothsayer. He's been listening to all this fiery talk about ropes and lightning, and his response, man, it's like a bucket of ice water on all that passion. He offers a completely different and honestly a pretty chilling perspective.
And boom, with just one sentence, the Soothsayer completely shatters the Shadow's grand metaphor. He looks at the very same crowd and sees zero desire for some tense, dangerous tightrope walk. Nope. He sees a deep, deep yearning for a comfortable, safe hammock where you can just rest. This contrast just perfectly lays out the core conflict of the whole dialogue. I mean, what is the point of life? Is it this difficult, aspirational process of becoming something more? Or is it about finding an escape from that very struggle, a release from all the tension into a state of simple, comfortable being? The Soothsayer really doubles down here. He argues that people have absolutely no desire for some shocking, transformative awakening. What they really want, he says, are the simple comforts, a cozy chair and stories that don't challenge them, stories that just soothe them. So this really cynical view leads the Soothsayer to define a specific type of person he believes is now everywhere. And he gives this figure a name, the last man. So what defines this creature of comfort? Let's break this down, because this concept is the foundation of the Soothsayer's entire argument. It's crucial.
Now, the crucial point here is that the last man isn't just lazy or, uninspired. He represents something way more final, the actual end of human ambition itself. This is a person who has consciously chosen to opt out of the struggle to overcome, basically bringing human development to a dead stop.
The Soothsayer gives us this pretty grim checklist. Instead of great joys, the last man just wants a never-ending stream of small, tiny pleasures. He wants his culture to be like a warm bath, something to soothe him, not challenge him, something that drowns out any difficult questions about purpose, that big why. He's given up on the struggle, deciding the whole rope walk is pointless if it just ends on the same indifferent earth. And maybe the most horrifying part? He's perfected his own comfortable decay, a rot that feels safe.
This comparison really says it all, doesn't it? The Shadow wants to give humanity fire, a tool for transformation, for forging new things, for light in the darkness. But the Soothsayer argues the last man would take that divine fire and use it for the most boring purpose imaginable, just to warm his soup. All that incredible potential just squandered for a tiny bit of comfort.
So the dialogue is now reaching its climax. The Shadow, just horrified by this bleak vision of a world full of soup warmers, makes one last desperate appeal. He just refuses to believe it's all over.
He points to the most basic, undeniable signs of existence. He's saying, look, they're not dead. They blink, they breathe. Surely, if there is life, there has to be potential for greatness, right? For that spark of lightning he's so desperate to see. But the Soothsayer, he delivers this absolutely devastating final verdict. He argues that just being alive isn't the same as having agency.
These people, he claims, are like fragile statues of ash. They might be moving, sure, but it's not from their own will. It's just the wind, these external forces pushing them around. And they mistake that passivity for actually dancing.
And here's the final blow. The soothsayer claims this isn't some tragedy that just happened to them. It was a conscious choice they actively made. He calls it the great refusal, the decision to reject the difficult journey in favor of being safe in the dark they adore.
And this is exactly why this dialogue is still so powerful. It's not just some old story. It holds up a mirror, and it forces us to ask what we see. It takes these abstract, philosophical ideas and turns them into a really personal question about the world we live in right now and about our own choices.
So this is the provocative thought I want to leave you with. When you look at our culture, our goals, even your own life, which metaphor feels more true? As a society, are we striving and struggling and reaching for something greater on that tensed rope? Or have we all just kind of collectively decided to settle into a comfortable, safe, and maybe ultimately stagnant hammock? The text doesn't give us an answer. It just asks the question.